I had to do so much editing to the videos, so I didn't even put the video up. And now I just feel like maybe the conversation is over with. So I don't know. I still have them. I probably won't put them up. So I said, let me just go live and just talk about what I want to say about last night's episode real fast. Um, and I've said this before, either in one of these videos from last season. I don't think I put one video from last season, but so it was probably in that video. Um, I didn't really get the Marlo and Candy beef, right? Um, and I kind of feel like some people were saying, include Carlos King. Carlos went live last night, or he put his video up last night as well. And of course, he has some type of drama going with Candy and Todd. And so um, I feel like the fact that he's reviewing this show, which he's no longer on the show as a producer, is kind of shady in it within itself, right? And so I kind of go and listen to what he is going to say, because obviously he also has some type of inside, look at what's going on as well, because he worked on the show.
And so he went live about it. Of course, Kenny uploaded her speak on it. And like I was saying before, I think she, well, I don't even know if I put that video up where I said that. I don't know, child. But she's probably recording speak on it. And then we're seeing it after the show airs. So she, of course, put up speak on it last night as well to kind of go in. She kind of went live during the week last week too. It said some little things about some of the stuff Marlo have been out here saying in reference to her nephew passing away. Now, the way Marlo is, the way they're pushing this with this show, this is my opinion. You guys can tell me what you think in the comments. But the way they're kind of pushing this whole conversation about her nephew passing away is that she was triggered by Candy's cousin or nephew, I think it's her cousin, who was shot at the one of the restaurants, right, by another employee. And so that's kind of how they're pushing this narrative that she was triggered by that of her own relative. Um, and it's possible that that's true. I'm not saying that that's not true. Maybe she really was triggered by hearing that story because that also happened to someone close to her. Um, However, I do agree with Carlos because Carlos, like I said, he's over there, the shade assassin. you know, I don't think this was a good. It's just not. I don't like dark stuff. Like I just don't. I agree with him. I don't. It's kind of on the dark side that this is a storyline and it's going on and on and on. Like this is something that they really could have covered in one episode. So I do agree with some of the stuff that he's saying, even though I know he's trying to shade Candy at the same time and probably the show itself. But yeah, I do agree with him. This is something they could have touched on in one episode. This is my opinion. We don't need to keep hearing about this because somebody did lose their life. Okay. And I don't think we should minimize that and keep going on and on and on and on and on with well she didn't send flowers and she didn't, and I feel like Marlo have a right, her and her family, if they felt like Candy is Candy Burris, maybe they see her in a certain light and maybe they felt like it would have been nice for her to show them some condolences or concern, right, as a family, since the nephew worked there at one of her restaurants. I think it was OLG. And Kenny is saying, he worked there a few months before he passed away. I still see Marlo's point. I still see the family's point. She's to them, she's Candy Burris, whatever that means to them. They may have felt like it would have been nice for her to show a little more concern. Not necessarily just with money or even the flowers thing. She could have just reached out, right, and called the guy's mother, right, and just kind of reflect on the fact that he did work for her and whatever the situation was while he was there, and just kind of showed some respect. Now, Candy is, in fairness to Candy, as Candy was saying, like I said, she went live earlier last week or somewhere in there, and she was saying, she got her own life. She got her own things that she got going on. She didn't see that situation that way. The guy worked for her, but it wasn't, however they're seeing her is not how she was seeing that situation. Maybe she don't realize that she means certain things to some people, especially there in that city. And so for her to not feel that way, like they don't really need me to step in and say anything to them, I think that's just a miscommunication between Marlo and Kenny. And like I said, and like Carlos is saying, that was something they could have worked out in one episode, child. We don't need no 5 or 6 episodes, no big battle going behind that because somebody did lose their life. Um, then he was saying how Candy, I guess Marlon was saying that Candy not really giving a whole lot, and he started breaking down all the seasons. Like this is Carlos King, all the seasons that Candy was on there, and he was saying that he felt like season 6 was her best season, and I'm assuming season 6 was the season when Nene had the pillow talk. Um, if you guys remember that, and Apollo got into it with Christopher Williams. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. I don't know. I can't remember season 6. And I didn't even look into it, but he said that's Candy's best season. My opinion, Candy can, and I think I've said this before, She cannot, it's going to be really hard for her. It would be hard for her to outdo that, whatever was going on between her and Phaedra, because we never got to the bottom of it. The fact that she don't want Phaedra to come back to get to the bottom of it, or just to at least end it, if that's all, that's the, she can't trump that situation. It would be very hard for her to trump that situation, in real life, in real time. To me, that's my opinion. I think that that's why people are saying, her storylines are boring, and we don't really see what she's adding. Because that whole Phaedra stuff was a lot of going on, and it just kind of ended because and then she put it out there, she don't want the lady to come back. And so I don't know. It's just hard for her to really get a storyline that's making sense to anybody. Like this whole stuff with Marlo, it still don't make no sense to me. Like I said, this could have been a one episode conversation, because it's obviously a miscommunication of, we see you a certain way, we wish you would have done more, as in to say, at least send your condolences to directly to his family, since he did work for you. But Candy's thing, I don't know if you guys was watching Speak on it, but her thing is she's trying to say she don't want them pulling her restaurant down with this conversation. So she really don't want to have the conversation because the boy did work for her. Excuse me. So she feel like they're like trying to badmouth her restaurants. And so that's why she's kind of like feeling a way about it. However, you do push your businesses on the show. If things are going on at your place, and the stuff is in the media, even though I don't know that Marlo's cousin's situation was in the media, I don't even remember that. And then when you see the producers show the clip from 2 years ago or however long ago it was, um, that didn't even air on the show. So they just pulled that because Marlo was saying Candy didn't really say anything, but they were kind of hitting on both of them, because Candy said that she didn't like the fact that they kept showing her saying, that Marlo was a good person. And that's what I'm saying. It seemed like they had found some way to be friends or whatever, and all of a sudden they was back in this battle. That's why I was saying it didn't make sense to me. So yeah, you said nice things about Marlo. Now all of a sudden you bring up her cutting this woman, and I do agree with Marlo. And then two, which nobody really has brought up so far. If you guys remember, these ladies also stood up for Marlo because the fans felt like Marlo should go. Like when all that stuff came out about her and this girl, her cutting this lady, um, years ago, Kenya, Cynthia, Nene, and Candy, all of them stood up for Marlo to stay there. If you guys remember that. So you cannot have that much problem with whatever you trying to say about Marlo. I think Candy don't have nothing else to say. So she just was kind of throwing that out there. But you guys kind of stood up for her to stay on the show. So it's kind of weird that you are kind of now trying to throw that in her face. But like Carlos was saying, when people, when they're holding things in the back of their mind that they want to use against you, you kind of see how they're going to use it against you at a later time. Because she kind of keeps throwing that out there, and you know. I mean, that was however many years ago it was. And like I said, you guys fought for Marlo to stay on the show. Clearly, y'all not scared of her. And then on the other side of that, as long as Marlo has been on the show, she haven't pulled nobody's wig off. She haven't thrown no drink at nobody. She have not hit nobody. She hasn't done anything. Yeah, she gets rah rah, but all of them get rah rah. Okay, they had even Miss Cynthia Bailey out here kicking folk. Okay, Miss Class out here was kicking people. So I'm sorry, all of y'all get rah rah at the same time. Like, um, so I don't, yeah, I agree with Carlos. Bringing up her past is like it's kind of stale. That's kind of stale. And I'm sure, like Candy said, all this stuff is gonna come up at the reunion once again. But yeah, I think that she just didn't have anything else to say about Marlo, so she kind of tried to throw that up. Um, and like she's saying, she's just upset because she don't want people tying this to her business. Like I said, if the stuff is happening, if it's been in the media, people are thinking these things anyway. And like Marlo is saying, you have to be able to talk about your stuff too, right? I think the best thing for Candy and Todd to do, like I said and some other people have said, is to put some security around there. You at least put some, let people feel like they can come there and be comfortable. You can't protect everybody, 24/7 or while they're at your restaurant or in the parking lot or whatever. You know, we people understand that, they get that. And like I said, I was saying yesterday or whenever I was live, these guns is out here, child. Everybody know this. Everybody is very much aware. It don't matter what city you in, where you at, how, if you're poor, if you're rich, whatever. People shoot, okay? And so these are not new conversations. Um, so I don't think anybody blames Candy. I don't think that, people are looking at her a certain way. I think that, you know, like I said, we didn't even know about Marlo's nephew, and that did not happen at her restaurant. He just happened to work there. Um, and she can't take responsibility for everybody that's going to work. We all understand that, waitress jobs and server jobs or whatever, bartenders and bar back, all this stuff is, a revolving door. People are going to come and go all the time, right? And so she can't take responsibility for everything that happens to everyone that works for her. And we all get that. I don't think anybody was really trying. I don't know. Maybe Marlo was trying to pull a conversation about the restaurant. I don't know. Only Marlo can really answer that. But yeah, so Carlos was naming all these different seasons where he said the candy actually gave us something. And he says season six was her best season. And then he's saying, I guess, for the last 2 or 3 seasons. But like I said, I feel like ever since that Phaedra stuff, she can't top it. She just can't top that Phaedra situation. And the best thing that they could do is to go ahead on and bring Phaedra back and end it, right? But she don't want to do that, and it is what it is. But she can't top that situation with all of this nonsense. Like these, really fake arguments. That stuff that, like Carlos was saying, is dark, and they shouldn't even be arguing about it because somebody lost their life. This should not be used in some kind of way for ratings or whatever. I agree with him about that, even though I feel like at the same time he is trying to shade. Um, what else was he talking about? Because he had me kind of tickled, um, with the breaking down the seasons that she was giving, that Candy was giving, and then she was saying on Speak on It that Marlo don't really wasn't really giving, but see, Marlo was a friend to the show. Marlo did not have to give. Okay, she didn't have to give. She was a friend. She was only making, little appearances. And to be honest, even when she was making those small appearances, she was the drama half the time. So I think that's why people feel like she may have earned her peach. So she gave more than she didn't have to give, okay, because she wasn't one of the peach holders. So that really wasn't her job to come on there and to bring a whole bunch of drama or drop her whole life story. Um, but I'm gonna tell you guys, while I was watching the show, I was thinking like I'm really kind of ready for them to move on. I feel like those new housewives, Drew and Sonya, it seemed like Sonya's sister got something to give, child. See, like the sister is ready. They need to give them some more airtime and really just put the focus on Drew and whatever's going on with her husband and Sonya. I was thinking that watching the show last night. I'm kind of over this Marlo and Candy thing. It's not doing nothing for me. I'm sorry. And I guess Kenya's boyfriend is supposed to make some type of appearance at some point. I like the whole thing with, the whole scene with Sheree and her grandchild, her introducing her grandchild. I thought that was a nice moment. But yeah, they need to move. They need to turn the page. Y'all need to bring Sonya's husband in here and let us find out why he want these people out of his house. We need to find out what's going on with Drew and Ralph. And then that was the thing too. Moving to speak on it, Candy called up Drew again because A1 had called her as well, and because it was just like this weird scene where she was talking about having surgeries, and she was saying to Ralph, because they're still together at this point on the show, that he had a surgery as well, and she started looking down, and I was like, is she looking at his knee? Because I think he was an athlete. I don't know, because I didn't watch the season where they came out, so I don't really know what Ralph do, child, but I think he was an athlete. These people either married to athletes or people that own restaurants, right? Somebody else was just saying that, and I was like, oh yeah, it do kind of seem like everybody they get involved with is either an athlete or they own a restaurant, except for Todd, right? Todd came as a producer on the show. Um, Even though they own restaurants now, but that's a joint venture between them. Um, and so Candy called her and asked her, well, what were you talking about when you said Ralph had a surgery? Like I said, I was thinking, well, maybe she talked about his knees or something. Maybe he was after he played or whatever, he had to have surgery. Because he was kind of looking at her crazy too. He never said anything, and they never really said what she was talking about. And so Drew said that she didn't watch the show yet, so she didn't know what Candy was referring to, or she thought that they would cut that out. And she never answered Candy about what she was talking about. So maybe because her and Ralph are having issues, she just want to let people think that the man had some type of enlargement, because that's what Candy crazy behind said. The man did he have some type of penile enlargement? Um, Child, and she didn't really answer. She didn't answer, so she just let that sit out there. But Candy said that she's gonna have Ralph on, and ask him herself what happened or what she was talking about. Um, and then Drew also went into Sheree, saying that Sheree out here trying to look like her with with the blonde, the light hair. And yeah, I mean, some of the images you can kind of see it, but Sheree was wearing blonde hair before. I forget which season that was. And everybody was like, no, that wasn't a good look for her. She had the short, bleach blonde hair. So she kind of dabbles in the blonde and the lighter hair. I kind of like her hair dark myself. I thought she looked really nice with the ponytail and the confessional. Her confessionals, she looks really nice. Sheree. I don't necessarily like the light hair on her, but Drew seems to think that she is trying to look like her. She's giving Drew out here. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. Do you guys think that they need to pick the show up with the Drew and bring Drew and Sonya in more? They are the new since they're the fresh housewives. They need to give them more airtime because these other stories are not working. They're just not working. I wasn't overly moved by this whole hold me back, don't hold me back, or whatever Candy was saying with this whole Marlo thing. And like I said, over the years, as long as Marlo's been on there, she have not put her hands on anyone. So there's no reason for people to pretend like you think she's going to do something to anybody. She hasn't put her hands on anyone. Yeah, she's going to do all this huffing and puffing because that is a part of what they want them to bring. And like I said, all of y'all be on there huffing and puffing. So we're not going to do that. All of y'all be on there huffing and puffing, okay, at some point in time. Um, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think they need to bring Drew and Sonya into these stories more in Manetta? I guess I don't know what Manetta is going to bring, but you know, whatever. um, and even Courtney, even Courtney, I kind of like her a little bit. She was growing on me on this episode because she was definitely trying to just turn the page with all of the nonsense. And I'm still suspicious though of her and Ralph, but we gonna see where that's going. Like I said, I need this show to pick up. This is just my opinion. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. If you were watching Speak on it, what did you think about what Candy had to say about as far as she think that they're trying to badmouth her restaurants? I didn't really get that. I think that Marlo has a point. Candy really don't bring a lot. Okay, and when stuff is going on, you that is the opportunity for you to bring it in. I don't think that's making her restaurants look bad. I think that she's still gonna get business because I think people understand that these things happen, and you know, um, maybe they should do an episode where they are showing people security. How about that? Let people feel safe. Like she got upset because she was bringing up the fact that Sheree said that we don't know if we're gonna get biscuits or bullets when they go over to the old lady gang, child. I was tickled. But yeah, Sheree did say that. Well, y'all need to put some child. Y'all need to put a security guard. You just doing it for one episode. Put somebody over there and let people feel like they can feel safe going in there. If that's what you think. What do y'all think? Do y'all agree with Carlos that it's too dark, making this whole back and forth about this young man dying? Because and Kenny pointed out that the guy that because Marlo did say that the guy worked there as well, the roommate. But Kenny was saying the roommate did not work for Old Lady Gang. The nephew worked for Old Lady Gang, but the roommate who I guess got into the altercation with the nephew did not work for Old Lady Gang at all. Maybe they met there. I don't know. Um, but yeah. So what do y'all think about all of this Marlo and Candy stuff? Do you think that they need to turn the page and move on to something else? Do you think this wasn't a good look? And this show has been known to go dark before because I felt like the domestic violence stuff was kind of dark as well. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you enjoying this season so far? Do you think they need to bring in Drew and Sonya a little more? Some people probably would say, well, maybe they don't have nothing to add. I don't know. I feel like Sonya's sister is ready. She's willing to jump in. You know, I think she's willing to jump in. I haven't. Where is Ross? I don't know where Sonya's husband is at. Allegedly he's saying all this stuff about he want her family out, but we're not seeing him and we're not seeing him say any of this stuff. At least I don't recall seeing him say any of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, turn the page already because I personally don't like the conversation. And I like I said, I feel like I agree with Carlos. That could have been a one episode conversation because obviously it's a misunderstanding. Um, I don't know. And he was talking about the Mama Joyce thing. Like I said, he it took moments to shade Candy, of course. Um, yeah, I don't know that the Mama Joyce thing makes sense because they almost been married for 10 years. Time is really moving by. And so maybe it is something there. I was thinking this as well. Maybe it really is something there though that Mama Joyce don't like about Todd. Now, if you're gonna put stuff like that in the air, you might as well put the reason in the air because otherwise it just looks, kind of crazy that she's keep going in on him and we're not seeing Todd do anything for her to be going in about. And so, yeah, and then almost been married 10 years. Like they're going into double digits. If you don't really have nothing to say, why keep saying all this negative stuff about this man in the media? It's not helping Candy to me. That's my opinion. Let me know what y'all think about what Carlos had to say in his live. What do you think about speak on it? What Candy had to say as far as her breaking down the whole Marlo situation. She feel like they're trying to I don't know who they, I guess you mean like production, I don't know, are trying to attack her restaurants, or maybe she mean Marlo and the other ladies. I don't know. But I do feel like if Candy had things that are in mainstream media, that it should be fair game for the show because she do need to have something to talk about. And it could, because these little make up arguments don't make sense. We know that you're not scared of Marlo. You guys y'all fought to keep her there in the first place. So if y'all was so scared of her, y'all should have let her go years ago. But I digress. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about all of this. I don't think they won the Tony last night, but I think just the fact that they were acknowledged, their work was acknowledged, is a pretty big deal. So congratulations to her and Todd on that. Riley looked really pretty. I love the yellow. Let me know what y'all thought about the episode last night. And I'll see you guys in the next video.